Guillory, Rapides Parish, 48 East. We've talked a lot about the concern that citizens have, especially those who are here today, about what actual carbon in our ground and getting close to our aquifer may do, and the danger that is. I'm certain you have been briefed on that, perhaps, yes? About the dangers of carbon capture? Okay. And we would hope that you're taking those things seriously. One of the things that we are very serious about is this is not your deal. So what the legislature has decided to do, which is abrogating our property rights for carbon capture and sequestration industrial operations. Giving those companies the power of eminent domain and expropriation. Now, you're all very familiar with that because eminent domain and expropriation is used for public utilities, right?
In certain instances, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the only instances. Title 19 is very clear. It lines out the exact items of which a subdivision, political subdivision as yourself, can use eminent domain, or even some private company that is doing that on behalf of political subdivision and for a utility company. Now, the law also in Title 19 is in paragraph 10 and 11 is very clear. It says that carbon capture is not a public utility and would not be considered a common carrier. And the only way you can get a public convenience in common carrier is you have to be a common carrier and a public utility. So what we're asking for you to do is to be involved in this part of the piece and asking questions and being the block for us. We elected you to do things on our behalf, right? Make decisions, spend money on roads and bridges and all that kind of stuff, public utilities kind of things. And now our property rights are in danger. You may not be legislators, but you are our public officials. And in many ways, you are here to defend us. You're certainly here to defend the Constitution.
That's right.
And you're also here to defend me. And Mr. Wiggins, you're my guy. I appreciate it. You're my guy. And so I'm asking you, I need you to look into this. I need you to look into what Gary has just told you about. This is a violation of the law. And if you guys were hoodwinked, some of you, I know you were here in 23, but some of you weren't here in 23. If you were hoodwinked, and you weren't given the entire amount of information, that puts you in a really bad spot. And I certainly hope that you dig into this in order to defend us, through the Constitution, which defends us, of course. But we want you to defend us. And take a look at these things very seriously, both angles, about what's going on with the legal consequences of what kind of tax abatements, which tax abatements, as you well know, has to do with something that is producing, is manufacturing something. Well, I ask you the question.
3 minutes are up.
You can have my 3 minutes.
Your name, sir?
Melvin Nickel.
So I ask you the question, and the question is CO2 is manufactured to do what? It's a byproduct of manufacturing. It is not a product that is manufactured. And so therefore it is outside the tax abatement approval. If they hoodwinked you into doing that, they've made you accomplices in this. And that's a significant problem. So we really need you to go back and look at that. See what they have to say. Look at Gary's information. And we didn't make that stuff up. We got that through Freedom of Information Act and all that sort of stuff. So it's legit information. And take a look at it. Because you got a decision to make. Did someone mislead you and you didn't know? Well, okay, that's fine. So let's go fix it. Let's go look at it. Let's make sure that we're not doing something, number one, illegal. Actually, number two, illegal. But number one, you're not defending your constituents. We need you to take care of us.
Mr. Guillory, it's my understanding that Mr. Chuck Owens, who is a legislator, and been a flag bearer for you guys, mission, basically, recently posted on social media after a meeting that he wanted to clear up some misunderstanding about eminent domain.
Yes.
That as far as eminent domain was concerned, and CCS and all that, the public had no reason to worry about that. And in talking with our local legislators, whatever may be a little bit of wiggle room that could be construed, these products don't be fixed. And I actually regret Mike Johnson's one of the to do that. So I think eminent domain is something that we really don't need to worry about.
Do we
Yes,
have
sir.
time to wait? Do we have time to wait for 2026 session?
Is, in most cases, when it comes to that, those companies don't want to be tied up in legal, they'll go around, they'll do different things. So I really think eminent domain is not an issue at this point, could be wrong, but I think that's what we're hearing from our legislators and kind of following their lead. But your guy, Chuck Owens, the one that came up posted and said.
Not
"Well,
my
I
guy."
got
Whoa,
public."
He's not our guy.
Hang on.
He's not our
Hey,
guy.
hang on, fellas. Go ahead.
Well, that, I mean, that's what the social media said, I mean, that's what, that's part of the record, if he was wrong, he's wrong, but
Yeah.
you can go back and pull that up pretty easily.
Yeah, actually, we can do that right now. If you have a computer available to you, you can go to legislative.gov and look at Title 19. Title 19 in section 10 and 11 clearly gives carbon capture and sequestration industrial involved companies the eminent power of eminent domain and expropriation. It is in the law. Mr. Chuck Owens doesn't know what he's talking about. It's in the law and it's right there. So for him to say it's not a problem, it is a problem. Today, it is a problem. And you can look at it right now.
And do you not believe our legislators do plan to take care of it?
I believe that our legislators are trying to play a game between industry and constituents. Because listen, the legislators in 2020 and forward created this problem. They voted not
Chief
just
Guillory.
once, not
Chief
twice,
Guillory.
not 3 times, 6 times. They voted to increase the power of private companies over you. You're a citizen just like me. You've got no special privilege over both of us to allow these companies to have power over me. As you know, the Constitution creates a level playing field so that you're not above me and I'm not above you, and no company can be above either of us.
Sure.
We stand toe to toe against the law. But that's not what Act 61 did in 2020. It literally subjugated you to a company that decides that it's going to be involved in sequestration, and then it was codified in the revised statute in Title 19. Paragraph 10, paragraph 11. It's right there and it's very clear. So when Mr. Owens says that it's not a thing, that is simply not true. Now, to your point about what are they doing to fix it, the legislature that passed all of these rules completely abrogated every bit of our ability to protect our property from another company. And now those legislators are coming back saying they're on our side, and little by little, they're trying to create new property rights or establish property rights that we already have. What they needed to do, what they should do, is go back and repeal Act 61. Unless you do that, you're playing a double standard game here. You're trying to give industry what it wants, at the same time, still ensuring they have the power of eminent domain, which they do. To your point about it's not really worth it for a company to go through the process. Mr. Wiggins, come on, we're talking about companies that have billions of dollars and have lots of money to make. You don't think that they're not going to come after a little kid like me who cannot go against a company like that? My pockets are not that deep. I can't fight them for years and years in court when they decide that my area, my property will become their property because I disagree with the amount of money that they want to pay. And they've also, through all of those laws, they were also given special ways to take my property. I'm sure you've looked at, it may not be recently, but I'm sure you've looked at Article 1, Section 4. That is, of all the 50 states, we have one of the best property rights protections out there. I've sat down and talked to the 2 men who wrote that section. And they tell me that I understood it correctly. And the bar for someone to come and take my property, even for a political subdivision, which you are the government, you have an inherently governmental power that is special to the government that can be able to take away our property. But even you have to come down on all these very stringent, specific things. Guess what industry gets to do? They can skip all of that. The new laws allows them to skip all of that. You go ahead, I see you want.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not going to get any argument on us in terms of eminent domain.
3 minutes are up.
Very much.
Give me my 3 minutes, Charles
Do
Mouth,
not
that's
want-
fair.
do not want to allow companies to take care of
But
property rights.
could you repeat that?
Well, this board,
Yes, sir.
pretty safe to say, I can't, for myself, but I'm pretty sure I know their hearts. We are not approving something that's gonna let them come take their property. And so, our understanding with the legislators, they're gonna close any loopholes that have anything to do with carbon capture, when it comes to eminent domain. And our understanding from the conversation from the other side is they don't have any intent to wanna do that. So, you know, I think.
Well, Mr. Williams, with respect, whether they have the intent or not, we cannot leave the situation to where it is, where they have the ability to subjugate my rights to property.
Right.
So that's an irrelevant argument.
We agree on that.
Yes, yeah, because it's an irrelevant argument. I mean, we don't ever want to give anyone any kind of additional power over us, just because it might not happen. That's
I want to ask a question. When we talk about carbon capture, and I think, spoke about, the president. Well, when we look at, I believe 90% of us in this room right now, if I look at the crowd, are MAGA people, MAGAs. And Trump just stated that he supported this 100%.
No, he didn't.
No,
No,
sir.
That's a false
No.
advertising.
False advertising?
Yes.
That was not him. That was an industry advertisement that said that. It was not him.
So
That
they-
comes straight from the president's office. You can look it up, you can look on.
We have. We
Office
have
of the
looked
White
it
House
up.
of the president, you can look it up and it
Did
tells.
they see where
came
Trump
from,
said
he
it was a
supports
scam?
Carbon capture, nuclear, and other forms of this.
It came from Mega Energy Projects. The registered agent is Governor Landry's personal attorney, Mr. Stephen Guillory. It came from Amanda Malloy, who is a lobbyist. It came from another gentleman that was appointed to the Board of Commissioners for the Ernest Morrell Exhibit Hall in New Orleans, and another lady by the name of Ms. Perez, who is an energy worker. It was created on October the 23rd, and the commercial came out on the 26th. I very much think that our governor's tied to it. And I think on the other end of this whole thing, through Tanner Johnson and Mr. Tim Johnson, and right on around, you'll find Mary Landrew and Van Ness Feldman.
That's
And
a
it's all
fact.
tied together, and it's about money. It ain't about the American people.
But Mr. Maddox, we're friends, we call each other.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So, I'm talking about going directly to the president's office, his office, look on his site, and see what he says about it.
He said it's a
Never
scam.
once did he spoke.
See what he says.
He
about
spoke
it.
He
to
said
the
it was
UN.
a scam
Okay.
when he was in.
Hang on, we don't want to get out of control.
He thinks the Green New Deal is a scam, and I agree with that.
Yes.
This is a
And-
Green New Deal.
This
This is a
is.
Green New Deal.
Well, actually, it's not. But-
Yes,
No, sir,
very
this is
much.
absolutely the Green New Deal.
Yes.
Why would you catch it if it wasn't, Randy?
3 minutes are up.
Well,
Somebody can
You
get.
can have mine, Rockland Plain, Refuge Parish District G.
one thing that you probably need to clear up is the Beaver Lake project is gonna use the CO2. They capture 50% of their CO2 and they use it in the process of the methanol manufacturing. The other 50%, they put into a pipeline, they dry it, compress it, and they send it to Vernon Parish.
No, we understand that, sir. That's the problem we have
Okay?
with it.
So, but Vernon Parish doesn't have a problem taking it.
No, sir.
Hey, who's from Vernon Parish here?
Well, we're saying Vernon Parish leadership and
Yeah.
that's applied for plans to take that. Plans to take it.
Well, but, sir, I'm sure you heard everything that Mr. Maddox said earlier, is that Vernon Parish, that the resolution, that they're changing their mind about that, first of all, and that they've received a great deal of money from these companies. They're,
So
in
if
the
they
press,
change
they've
their
got
mind
big
about it
checks
and
and lots of money.
Then there's a moot point.
Chuck Owens polled, 90% of his people were against it.
90%.
I can tell you that, you know, I understand what you're saying.
But the bottom line is, even
Well-
The numbers exactly.
Yeah.
How many
It's
people do y'all think
unconstitutional
were for
and
it,
it's
if you know
illegal.
of? Outside of industry, outside of the Chamber of Commerce, and outside of elected officials. How many people do you know that's for this besides, and I understand the timber industry's into it because they've been used as a carrot to dangle in front of their nose. We're supporters, everybody organized, I think everyone here, are you a member and supporter of industry? Are you a supporter of oil? Are you a supporter of gas? I am. I'm a supporter of all that things. Everything except for injecting something into the ground that brings nothing out except for money to politicians.
Amen.
Well,
My question, I'm telling you, like, y'all voted Trump, Landry, all Republican guys.
Not all of us
Well,
voted
yeah,
that way.
Hold on, 90%.
Yes.
The population voted for Landry, which Rapids Parish is more Republicans than Democrats. So then we ask that, if we wanna bring it to the table and vote again, right? And we say, we're gonna vote for Landry and carbon capture, I think people gonna follow the governor's side with that.
Absolutely not.
No.
Sir,
It won't be the governor.
just because we voted, may or may not have voted for the governor, doesn't mean that we agree with everything that the governor has to say. Just because we voted for the president, doesn't mean that we agree everything that the president has to say. And so this is an item that we disagree with. And as citizens, we have a right to petition our elected officials. We have a right to petition the courts. We have a right to do all of those things. We have a right to stand up and say, I didn't vote for you, Mr. Jay, I voted for Mr. Riggins, but I could stand up and say, hey, Jay, you're a great guy and all this stuff, and I agree with 99% of what you say, but this thing I disagree with. And we can have a disagreement with that, and we can petition. And that's what we are doing here. We disagree with what the legislature has done with a Republican legislature. We disagree with what the legislature has done. We think that they have egregiously overstepped their boundary. They have violated their oath. In many ways, a lot of the legislators have told us, I didn't know it, I didn't read it, and so I voted for it. You guys went through the agenda pretty quick today. It gives me the idea that you knew about it already and you knew the details, right? Yep. Because if you didn't know the details, I'd be super concerned that you went so fast. But I'm certain that you already knew, and this was the formality of getting through it, right?
Well, our process is, we met last Monday.
Exactly.
To go over that, and you pretty much already talking about this, so our process was that.
And I hope you heard me correctly. I said, I'm sure you did know ahead of time.
Yes, sir.
And you're doing the formal part. Well, the legislators are telling me that they're getting legislation that they haven't had time to read. Mr. Chuck Owens, you brought him up. He told me that he didn't read the bill that he voted for. And that bill took away my right to property. That's a big deal. Amen. It's a big deal. It's not only in what actually happened, but the fact that he didn't read the legislation. I know you guys aren't doing that, so you're reading what you're looking at, and
When
I
I was in the
appreciate that.
legislature one time, I can tell you, I know that exactly happens.
Well, that doesn't make it okay, Mr. Wiggins. It does not make it
It's
okay.
I'm just saying I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
At that point.
That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, but none of us are legislators, right? So we're not getting into that.
So I think at some point though, you were gonna have to hear our legislators. Mike Johnson's one of them, and I think he's probably the best one we've ever had.
Mm.
And, you know, and I was one of those once upon a time, so was her sister, her brother, her dad. Her brother was one also. I think Mike, and you guys was ours. You couldn't ask a person to care more about work as hard as him. He says he's gonna bring it in with a domain bill. And there's several other guys that's gonna bring it in with a domain bill, whatever little loophole there is.
If-
You guys heartburn, she's gonna fix that. She's gonna fix that. So.
But
you
Mr.
have to
Wiggins,
trust
if
that
he's
they're
so
gonna do it.
awesome, if he's so good, then how, this didn't happen yesterday. It's been 5 years ago. People here have been talking about this for 2 years, and
Mr.
we
Guillory,
just
have you ever
never.
made a mistake in your life?
Sir, making,
Yeah, I am.
but that's, excuse me, but that's a childish way to talk about an
Childish.
enormous.
That's a very adult way.
No, it is not. An adult way to talk about something is if you're a legislator in Baton Rouge and you have been elected to go down there, sir, I'm over here. If you're an adult and you've been sent down there to represent a lot of people, it is an adult thing to read what you vote for that can change people's lives. That's what adults do. When you make a mistake at that level, we're talking about the 3 basic rights that our Constitution begins with: life, liberty, and property. Why is property so important? I know Mr. Chuck Owens has picked up my talking points on this. The reason that property rights are so important because it ensures our independence. It ensures our freedom. And so he can say but what has he really done in order to change it? He's taken half measures, small measures that continues to support industry and doesn't fully restore our property rights. It is in the revised statute, Title 19, Paragraph 10, Paragraph 11, that carbon capture sequestration industry has the authority of the eminent domain and expropriation. That needs to be changed.
So I'll reiterate, you're not gonna get an argument from this board about that.
Mhm.
The work that you need to do then, based on the point that you're talking about, kinda sounds like a campaign speech or something, is work with the legislature.
Yeah, well,
That's where you got stopped.
I appreciate the jab, it's not true. I'm okay with my jab. No, it's not okay, it's unnecessary to make a jab like that. But there are other ways.
Insecurity, Randy, that's insecurity.
What are you afraid of, Randy? What are you afraid of? You afraid somebody's gonna run against you?
Okay, step.
Your time's up.
Oh, I heard it was given up a couple times there.
It's not been given up lately, so, I mean.
Oh,
Okay, give it up, somebody.
Anybody else?
Mr. Guillory, give it up.
I'll give him my 3 minutes.
You already gave yours, ma'am.
I have never gave mine. My name is Sherry Parker Brose, Rapides Parish, DeVille, Louisiana. Lifelong, 66 years, living in Rapides Parish. I give him my time.
Okay, but you were gonna say.
I appreciate y'all coming, having a conversation like this is what we need to do. We've all been talking, to each other, we're learning as much as we can on both sides of it. So, again, y'all have came to us today with your concerns as a jury, we understand. We've got some big decisions to make in the future, so, we will be addressing it. We have been discussing this, as a jury and how we're gonna move forward.
We don't
To give us
have the
great
luxury of
confidence,
time.
To increase our confidence that you're gonna be doing this, could you, consider and pass a resolution that you'll look into the tax abatement, situation that took place in 2023? Go back and take a look at that and investigate that. Mr. Harris has asked for information, also Mr. Jay, we're gonna provide that to the whole committee.
Let me say this. The whole jury,
Yes.
we'll address, we have to address the situation coming forward, and we understand that. And I think, as I said before, we're gonna support Representative Johnson and his legislation to eliminate eminent domain. I'm gonna move forward to help, to give you the right to vote, whether you want it or not. I think it's the people's choice. And then, of course, we've got, some resolutions to look at. Now, we as a jury, that's something we gotta look at it and to move forward in the future. We do value the information that you shared with us today, your concerns and conversation. That's how we better Rapides Parish is having these kind of communications. So, again, I appreciate y'all coming. We've been about 30 minutes. Our ordinance basically gives us a 10-minute group session, but this is a very important topic that I think,
Mr. Craig, did you attend the meeting where the governor said no to a vote? When we asked him for a statewide vote, you were at the meeting, what did the governor say?
Say that
We
again.
asked him for a vote, we asked the governor to take it to a vote, Mike Slocum did, you were present. The governor responded what?
He said that he believed that he would give it to the parishes wanted to opt out, they should have that
Opt out, but he said he would not take it to a statewide vote. So there's no sense in asking for that. He said no to a vote, and he said if we didn't want it, we didn't have to have it. So if you gentlemen, according to the governor, say you don't want it, we don't have to have it.
Right.
And that's something, Lou, we have, you and I talked about, that's something we have to address. as a
Mike
jury.
Johnson's resolution is not gonna do it.
So how will you address it, Mr. Smith? How will you
I
address it?
mean, there's, as you said, there's some resolutions out there to look at, whether us as a jury is,
And that's what we're asking today. We're asking, look, we gotta deal with our legislators on our own.
I agree.
And you guys are,
I think what,
but you are the ones that can make the resolution here for our parish.
and I think what y'all did was come here today to ask us as a jury to pass a resolution, is that correct?
That's what you said, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
3 minutes is up.
and that's what we will consider.
Somebody give him 3 minutes.
Again, I appreciate y'all coming.
Ms. Aquila wants to say hello.
Miss Aquila came a long way. She drove a
I'd like
long
to
way
say,
to
and I
speak.
promise I won't be long.